explains the ethical leadership within the domains of reflective practice, craftsmanship, and normative professionalism. Before we go further, perhaps we'll see what ethical leadership is all about in the perspective of these three domains. Ethical leadership is underpinned by processes that facilitate routine review and continued improvement on practices of leaders by having a sense of moral purpose, commitment to the service of the public, and these are expressed through the values, the identities, and the services that the leaders render. I'll go to briefly explain the three domains, starting with reflective practice, that is advanced by Donald Shawn and later refined by Jarvis and Banks. Reflective practice is about thinking critically and having a moral conscience in the process of determining what the right thing to do is. It is important in aiding decision making. According to these scholars, reflection can either be in action or on action. Reflection in action is when we think about what we are doing while doing it and questioning the self. For instance, questions such as, is it the right thing that I'm doing? Is it an acceptable thing? Is it beneficial? Is it reasonable? Is it good? Is it praiseworthy? Am I doing it well? What challenges and dilemmas, etc.? How can I do it better in the process of doing something? While reflection on action is about questioning what you've done. It is like doing a post-mortem of what you've done. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? And how best could I have done it better? Asking such questions in the process paves the way for personal improvement. The second is the aspect of craftsmanship that is advanced by Sennett. And this concept of craftsmanship is concerned with doing something well in itself and taking pride in it than simply doing a job for money. Quality-driven work with well-defined standards for excellency is what embodies the idea of craftsmanship. The key issues in craftsmanship include commitment, dedication and courage, resiliency and continually trying, coordination and cooperation, having a sincere attitude, staying focused, collaboration and engagement, and accepting mistakes and forging a way forward. In leadership, it is about developing good practices, not only by embracing the good things, but by also adopting different forms of resistance in order to find pathways when faced with dilemmas. On the other hand, normative professionalism advocates for the ethical and moral commitment of professionals as necessary for delivering good work. In this case, we are looking at the moral commitment of leaders as necessary for delivering good work. In what counts as normative, leaders should have the ability to exercise autonomy and self-determination in making decisions. They should strive to address the hierarchical power relations and bureaucracies that hinder or derail effective service delivery. There should be collective responsibility. Leaders should also be able to confront the realities of their work with openness and sincerity. They should exercise discretion. There should be reflective connections in whatever they are doing, reflecting on different perspectives of their work and the demands that may come with it, as well as the challenges that come with it. There should be mutual deliberation, learning and acting according to intuition. We need to deliberate mutually about issues that affect us, and people should be able to listen to each other, accept criticisms from one another, and work on these criticisms so that we can improve. Then learning continuously is part of normative professionalism, because everything keeps changing. The context in which we work changes, the environment changes, the circumstances of work changes, the consequences of our actions keep changing. So learning continuously is part of striving towards normative, as proposed by Harry Conman. In conclusion, therefore, I would like to say that just like a craftsman works repeatedly to perfect their skills, leaders too should learn to accept mistakes and understand that developing good practice not only lies in the pride of participating in an institution, but by also having a sense of ownership of everything therein. In this case, I'm talking about an institution of government. We should talk about an institution of government as being our government, not being their government. A sense of ownership will create in us a sense of responsibility. It will create us in us a sense of care for whatever we are doing, because we are doing it for our own, not for others. Whenever people take responsibilities away from them and they start talking about institutions as belonging to the leaders, or some leaders within the hierarchy of leadership claim it belongs to other people, then we cannot have ownership, and therefore we cannot work towards perfection. Sharing knowledge and ideas in a free and fair forum is very important for ethical leadership. There should be openness, open communication and confrontation of the other without other people being offended. There should be critical analysis of the work environment. We all work under different environments, under different circumstances. In order for us to be able to make decisions that are good, or to make decisions for the good of the entire population and citizens of a country, we need to think critical about the environment in which we are operating. We have tendencies of copying and cutting and pasting some of the policies that we adopt as leaders. Sometimes some of those policies don't suit within the environment that we operate. So therefore, critical analysis of the environment becomes paramount. Finally, as leadership or ethical leadership requires that we develop and embrace positive reforms and adopt to different forms of resistance, which is important for establishing different pathways when faced with leadership dilemmas. Of course, leadership is about dealing with challenges. You don't avoid the challenges. How you solve the challenges that you confront as a leaders in a way that is reasonable, in a way that is pragmatic, in a way that is acceptable, in a way that is praiseworthy, is what counts as ethical leadership. Thank you for listening. Hope to read more from the paper that I've shared with you.